Welcome back. He was vice president of the United States during a time of economic prosperity, and it was a time when the role of terrorism in the world looked vastly different. So what does Al Gore think of the state of the world today? CCTV's Shraysi Tandon has an exclusive interview with him on the sidelines of an environmental summit, 24 hours of reality.
With the bigger typhoons and cyclones and hurricanes, with the deeper and longer droughts, with the massive flooding and the mudslides and the sea level rise that is so threatening to low-lying cities, Guangzhou being one of them, Shanghai being one of them, many in the U.S., Miami, for example. And of course, the developing countries that are located on low-lying islands and in deltas like Bangladesh are particularly at risk. And with the polar ice cap melting now accelerating, this threat is growing more and more obvious. But now, partly thanks to the leadership of China and the U.S. in helping to develop the solar photovoltaic electricity industry and the wind industry, now the price of electricity from these renewable sources is coming down so rapidly, it makes sense to plan for the energy sources of the future, which are renewable. So for all these reasons, I think that people are really now at the point where they want their leaders in every country to take action.
The Islamic militant group, ISIS, is a huge, huge threat. Everyone's looking at the U.S. For leadership and direction. How would you combat ISIS?
Well, I think that President Obama answered that question several days ago with his speech to the American people, quickly followed by a lot of bipartisan support for his initiative. And his speech was also followed by announcements in other countries, including Arab nations in the region, that they would join in this fight. This group, in the name of religion, that's not religion, it's insanity, it's cruelty, it's hatred. And of course, the world cannot stand for this. And so putting together an international coalition to stop the spread of this kind of evil is good leadership, and the president has done that in the most recent days.
The United States recently announced new sanctions on Russia. Do you think sanctions actually work? Because if we look at, sanctions on Iran, Iran still continued to enrich uranium. If we look at sanctions on North Korea still continued to accelerate its missile program. In your opinion, are sanctions effective in getting countries to cooperate?
Well, I think they can be, yes. My office, when I was vice president, was in charge of the sanctions against Serbia when the Balkan War was raging. And they worked very effectively, in tandem with other measures, to bring that war to a conclusion and to reach the Dayton Peace Accord that the late Dick Holbrooke presided over. And so I know they can work. And in the case of Russia, I think there is evidence already that the world community's sanctions, particularly in North America and Europe, have been having a considerable impact on Russia. Russia is declining in population, its economy is declining in strength, and we know from the history of every nation that leaders facing domestic problems can sometimes feel that if they raise the flag of war and stir up a nationalistic feeling, it can temporarily lift their popularity at home a little more. And my own opinion is that is what we're seeing from Mr. Putin. And I think it's unfortunate. I hope that the current truce is strengthened between Russia and Ukraine. I'm impressed with the new leader of Ukraine, who seems to be doing an effective job in this dialogue. But one of the tools that is, I think, effective is in the form of sanctions, and I think they can work, yes.